Macroeconomics Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome back. Oops. I'm hearing myself on my phone. Okay, so as you can see, again, no camera. Sorry guys. Got a bad haircut. Can't be seen on the camera right now. Actually that's not why. I just still haven't gotten my computer screen fixed, my second screen. So it's kind of hard to set up the camera and also have the main monitor, and it just I don't know how much it really adds. Do you guys feel like the camera adds a lot to the entertainment aspect, or would you rather just focus on the charts? All right, let me know in the comments. Even if you join later, you can tell me what you think. Obviously, here's me looking at altcoins. I'm watching. I'm sure everybody's watching. Are we bottoming? Did we bottom? This looks like a pretty juicy W potentially, but it's crypto, so you never know what is really happening. Right, this is the total. The total looks like it's bottomed, then it's crossing over. Cole, we're only here to see your face. All right, well, next week, guaranteed. I promise it will happen next week. So if you want to bail today, I understand. No hard feelings. Okay, let's open up the news. Let's talk about what's going on in the news really quick. Let me zoom in. Nothing stands out here. The only thing that did to me was the pending home sales that decreased by 2.1%. But these numbers are kind of all over the map. I don't think there's any real relevance here. You can see the forecast. They're totally not even in line. So I wouldn't give this too much. Everything else though is pretty much in line. Durable good orders were up. Core durable good orders were down though. Unemployment, which is the main thing I kind of track and I always talk about, is still just in line. There's no spikes in unemployment yet. So unless we get a spike in unemployment, I don't see this supposed recession happening. I mean, you did have a bit of a spike the last 2 weeks, and now it's come back down. I need to see a consistent spike higher to really get worried. Base and pipes. I don't know what pipes are, but oh, you mean like teeth? Does that mean teeth, Gills? Okay, so there's that. Nothing big with the news. I mean, well, there is one big news thing. They don't have it on the calendar here. Why don't they have it? For me, it would be 8:30 a.m., 8 a.m. tomorrow morning here in Bangkok. But for you, for anyone in the U.S., it's 9 p.m. tonight. What is that event? Guys, what is happening? Could it change the entire market landscape? Like, if something is said by Trump or Biden, could Bitcoin immediately go to 50K or 100K? Is it possible? I don't know why they don't have that on here. I mean, I think that's a pretty big event. I've got my alarm set to wake up. I never wake up at 8 a.m., but I'm going to tomorrow morning. I'm gonna have my popcorn pre-made, everything ready to go. I cannot wait for the circus. Is anybody else gonna watch? Looking forward to it. I'm not gonna get too political about it or say like who I like and who I don't like, but I think it's going to be fun and interesting. I think the CNN is going to. I mean, it's basically. This could not be more of a joke, right? Everything is kind of in Biden's favor, and Trump just wants the airtime. So I guess everyone gets kind of Trump gets the debate, which I'm surprised they even let happen, and Biden gets basically everything else. My big thing that I'm curious about is I've seen conspiracy rumors about people saying that Biden has a body double. So we'll see. If look at the chin, okay, just if you're curious about it, look at the chin, look up about the Biden chin, and we'll see what happens. Do we get the real Biden or do we get the stand-in? Yeah, refresh this. Every week, by the way, I go through the Becker coins, so we're gonna look at some of those altcoins. The earlobes. Oh, we'll have to look at the earlobes. So in the after party, I'll go over a couple of these again. We'll see if where they are and are they in a good buying zone. We looked at a couple last week that were in decent buying zones, and we're going to figure out, is this market really bottoming? Is this our W that we've been waiting for, or do we need to see one more leg lower? It's a perplexing question, and I'm not even sure if I have the answer, but maybe today we can find out. I'm gonna stick to the stock market to start. We'll talk about a couple things there. We'll look at global liquidity, and then we're gonna look at Bitcoin in total, and then in the after party we're gonna look at, like, we'll look at detailed coins, and also whatever coins you guys want to look at in the after party. That's the beauty of the after party, right? You guys know. All right, without further ado, let's get into the charts. I don't even have the S&P pulled up. We'll start with global liquidity. I always talk about this. The green line is global liquidity. It seems like Bitcoin is following this global liquidity chart much more accurately than the S&P. The S&P just seems like it's up only. It did pull back one time here, and then it's just been heading higher. But yeah, as you can see, global liquidity has pulled back and Bitcoin has followed, but the S&P is surprisingly just prompted you to say that, but thank you. So this is giving me a warning sign about the S&P that potentially we could have a pullback in the future. And that would make sense if we go to the S&P, we look at, let's let this load and I will show you. Oh, sorry for the yawn. All right, not crypto. We're going to get to crypto later. S&P for now. So I told you for weeks now. Let me see, the 20th. We went over on the 20th how we hit my 5,500 target, and I said that was the target for multiple weeks. We're going to hit 5,500, BFRN. BFR stands things for big effing round number. And we hit it. And look at what happened. We've paused. Literally nothing has happened since we hit that number. We paused and we've just been sitting. And we haven't broken down. There's been no breakdown. We're overbought on a weekly chart. We're bullish on all time frames. So my suggestion is this exact. I'm in the exact same spot as I was last week, unfortunately, where I said consider taking some profits, but don't short yet, because there's a possibility that this can go higher. It hasn't technically broken down yet. And there is a 7 and 8 on the weekly. We talked about the 7 last week. But if you look back, 7, 8, and 9s on a weekly chart don't have that much of they don't work as well as like on a daily chart. I've seen countless times, and you can see here, where the market just heads higher. And then you do eventually get your pullback sometimes. Like here, you hit the 9 and then you had your pullback. And another time you had a little bit of a pullback and then you just continued higher. Again, this time you had pullback before you continued another 300 points higher, and then you got your pullback. So they're not, I wouldn't base your trading strategy about time to mark 7, 8, and 9s on a weekly chart. But there is a slowdown, right? And we did have that 5,500 target hit. So my strategy right now is wait and see. Arm keeps like dropping for some reason. So we're in like a wait and see mode, and the market's just sitting up here. I think I don't know. I don't know which way. Really? 8 and 9 on the monthly? Let's look at the monthly. That's interesting. Oh wow. I only see a 7. There's a 7. But in one day in 5 hours, there could be an 8. Oh, okay. But again, unfortunately, when this has come in, there hasn't been too much of an effect. And that's the really unfortunate part that there's just not that big of an effect. You can see all these times. Here we go. 7, 8, and 9, really no pause. 7, 8, and 9, just small pullback. 7, 8, and 9, no pullback. 7, 8, 9, big reversal in 2011. 7, 8, and 9 here in 2016, no pullback. Here, 17, no pullback. I mean, here back in 2021, there was a pullback. Here we go on the 2023, there was a pullback. So there might be a pullback, but there were plenty of times when there weren't pullbacks. So I have trouble giving a lot of credit to this. I just don't. I think it's something to be aware of, but it's not something to base your trading off of. In the sense of S&P, and specifically not in everything, but in the sense of the S&P 500 on a weekly and a monthly chart. Looking at RSI, I think we're just in an uptrend still, and we're pausing, and the market's deciding, does it want to reverse and head lower, or are we distributing and then we're gonna do we want to distribute and head lower, or are we just consolidating before the next leg up? Are they going to take one more leg? Are they not done yet? And I don't know the answer to that question right now. Right now, it just looks like we're in no man's zone, and we're just kind of chopping. Call this a chop fest, which is the same as what Bitcoin is doing, by the way. Bitcoin is also in chop fest land, where it's just running liquidity on both sides, and that's what this looks like, where you get these vicious moves up and down, just spikes. Doot, 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 doot. And I've talked about this many times in the past about how do you trade these moves, and usually you trade them using fibs. Like, for example, this move right from here to here. This is a perfect example. You draw the fibs, and then you say, okay, well, where if I'm down here, where am I going to sell if I buy? And you would sell at the 78.6 and 88.6, and look at where price reversed. And then what you do is you go, okay, well, here's the low on the other side. Here's the high. Okay, and what do? I'm going to short up here somewhere, and then I'm going to exit at the 78.6 and 88.6. And what do you know? It basically tagged those. Someone front ran it a little bit at the 88.6, but it definitely tagged that 78.6. Then you do, okay, so that happened. Now I'm going to do it again. And there's your 78.6 and 88.6 tag. And then you say, okay, I'm going to do it again. And you made profit on the previous 3 trades, but finally, on the 4th one, you got stopped out. It didn't work, right? So you tried a long here, and you got stopped out up. I mean, you hit your targets, but it went past the targets. So if that makes sense. That's how you kind of trade these ranges, and I'll show you with Bitcoin too how you can do it this simple way using fibs. It doesn't work all the time, but if you can establish the pattern, it's pretty good. So now we're here, and you would do just this, like that, right? And you would look for shorts up here, and your take profit is down here. So you would do something like this. My short position, just do it here. You set it above the highs, and my target is down here at 78.6. So 1.5 to 1 risk reward. Here you get almost 1.8 to 1. It's really not that great. You would want to see something higher, which is why they didn't give you much time up here, because then you would have a much better risk reward scenario. Like now it's 3 to 1, right? And that's why you have to plan your trades in advance, because you're not going to get a lot of time to kind of do this. You're not going to get a lot of time to take these trades if it's actually a good entry point. That's what I'm trying to say. So, I mean, if you look at this, right, 15 minutes, you had like 30 minutes to get in up here, and now to get out on the pullback, you didn't have much time. Okay. All right. Hopefully that makes sense on like a lower time frame. I'm trying to just explain how you can sort of trade these chops. If you don't want to, then I would suggest just sitting in the names that you already own. Like I said, when we hit 5,500, consider taking profits on a lot of names. Don't short anything, and you can hold some other stuff if you'd like. The uptrend is still intact. I don't know exactly where we go from here. Obviously, if this is just a consolidation or another leg up, then we can look at basically the consolidation range and say, okay, the next target is 5,600. So we can go another 120 points higher. That's the potential scenario I'm seeing here on the S&P. I talked about Tesla last week. I'll look at it again. NIO. Richard John asked to look at NIO. Yeah, we can look at that quickly. Tesla was the big one I talked about. I've talked about it every week and how it was potentially bottoming in this area and regarding the Optimus robot. So I've talked about that extensively. Tesla looks really good on a weekly chart. It's kind of just been sitting down here, consolidating for a while. What if it's potentially putting in a massive W? Like if this is your massive W, right? Imagine that. And it goes all the way up here. I mean, that would be insane, wouldn't it? Let me get rid of some of this stuff. Let me redraw that. Let's make it semi-conservative. So Tesla could go to 750 from here. And I like the way the W looks on this chart. Let me flip it. Okay, and then your stop is down here. So 7-to-1 risk reward and a potential for basically a 300% return. Not bad. Not bad. I like how it looks I like how RSI is looking on a monthly chart here. Let's go to like a 2-week. Yeah, 2 weeks also looks good. I think I kind of like it. I like it here. I think if you can get that move higher. I mean, Tesla came into my buy zones twice, 140 right here, 139. Those were the areas to purchase some Tesla. Played out perfectly, and look how little time they gave you. You had like 2 days. That's it. They're never going to give you much time to get a really good entry. It's just, when you have a good entry when it was only there for a very short period of time. Okay, so let me see. A little bit lower time frame. Can I give you guys a better entry for this? I mean, we do have a gap down here at 150. I'd like to see that gap filled. Maybe we get a market pullback, and you can see that, and there's a gap fill down here, and then we can move up. But I do think that eventually Tesla's going to announce about the Optimus robots, and that's going to give you that move to, it's going to give you a NVIDIA style, some kind of NVIDIA style move is going to happen. Okay, so from that, let's go to a failing legacy company, my old company, Boeing. Boeing actually looks decent on these lower time frames. On a weekly, 2-week chart. It looks like it's trying to put in a bottom and reverse and head higher. That's what I'm seeing here. Ironically, considering where the market is, I'm seeing that Boeing looks like it could break out of this consolidation it's kind of been in. It looks positive on every time frame except the weekly. The weekly is still below the 50-day, still below the 50 on RSI. But if it could break out, we could easily head to 250. You get your W here and move up to 250 from 4.669. And ironically, I bet if we do this right here, yeah, look, 786 and 886 are at that same exact level right there. It's the exact same level, whether you're looking at chaos or you're looking at fibs. Oh, that lines up very easily. It's almost, Brian would call it cliche. It's almost cliche. It's all kind of the same thing, so it makes sense that it lines up. Okay, Richard asks, can we look at Neo? Yes. Let me look at Neo quickly. Let's see how much. Oh, I've already gone 20 minutes. So I will do Neo quickly, and then we're gonna look at Bitcoin, and then we'll go to the after party. Neo. Okay, let's go to a monthly chart. Oh, so you had a 9. You do have a 9 on the monthly, which provided a nice boost last couple times it's come in. You've had a somewhat of a reversal at least. Weekly looks decent, honestly. Not terrible. And I guess this is kind of your W area right here. So that points to like a 13 move, which is more than a double. I don't mind it. I mean, I don't know the fundamentals behind this. Maybe it has really bad fundamentals. I'm not sure. But it doesn't look terrible, let's put it that way. No. I wouldn't bet the farm on this. I'd like to see this gap right down here filled. I don't think it was completely. Let me see something. It wasn't completely filled. I want to see him move down to like tag at 4.18 before we move higher. I mean, I could see that, flush out all the past couple days, and then you head up. I could see that happening. I like it. I think it's fine. If you're looking for a big move, it's gonna take some time. I don't see why it's not possible. Looks okay. Again, I don't know anything about this company. Hello, Alex. Welcome. Oh, we're getting people time. It's a Chinese EV. Oh, Chinese EV market. I am concerned the Chinese EV market is in a bit of a bubble, and you're gonna see in the next year or two Chinese EV companies start failing. I think there's just too many EVs in China and too many companies popping up. So I'm not sure, but the chart looks okay. It could obviously go to new lows though, and if that happens, you got to get out quickly, because that new lows usually mean even lower is on the horizon. That's the concern. All right, I think that's enough on Chinese companies. Let's look at the total. That often gives us a better picture of the market than just looking at Bitcoin. And then that's going to help us determine direction for the market. And I'm only jumping to this because I think I'm running out of time. But in the after party, I will look at DXY. I will look at gold and silver. I will look at DXY, gold and silver, Bitcoin itself, and the altcoins similar to the list I showed you guys. But I wanted to go over crypto a little bit for the public show, just a little bit. Okay, so if we look here on a weekly, you can see it's just barely being supported right there. The uptrend is intact. You had a 9 that came in on the daily. You had a 9 that came in on the 3-day. And you can see how the daily is trying its best to reverse here. No, 12 hour. Trying to reverse. But still not out of the danger zone. This could still take out the lows. So go down here, take out the lows at 1.9 or something. It didn't take out the lows yet, and I bet all it did was retrace the 78.6. Yeah, look, so if we look at the range, look at what it did. It went right down to 78.6. What a surprise. And I bet if I move it up here, it did the same. Tagged 78.6 and bounced. But if we look at the farthest low, 78.6 and bounce. That's it. And then it's rejecting from 61.8. It's just kind of trading in this range. And what I would like to see, why is it doing this add text thing? I don't want to add text. I want to have this. I would like to see a quick tag of 88.6 and then our move up. That's what I really would like to see. I don't think I will be surprised if we get a bounce from here. But it looks possible. It is possible. This was quite the fake out here. If we're going to get the down move, it's going to happen soon because they took out all of the shorts right here. That was the big move. It was, okay, let's take out the shorts, and then maybe it goes down, it takes out the longs, and then that gives you your rocket fuel to head higher. Just needed a few more liquidations, and then they've got all the capital they need to run it up. That assumes that the rest of the stock market doesn't, fall apart. Again, legacy markets, everything kind of flows down, right? So legacy markets at the top, then Bitcoin, then blue chip altcoins, then regular altcoins, then memes and other stuff like NFTs, which are basically memes most of the time. So it's just a picture version of a meme. Hopefully that makes sense. This is the scenario I'm still targeting. Is it guaranteed? No. Could we bounce from here? Yes. I don't have a crystal ball here. I wish I did. I don't. So that's the scenario I'm targeting. Obviously, if that doesn't happen, then we do something like this and we head up. Those are the two. Or we just sit here for a while. Who knows? But the main scenario would be the pullback for me. But crypto has a habit of not really following what my main scenario is and always rising faster than before I can get fills. So I might be greedy with trying to get fills down here and thinking this is the scenario, when in reality we already bottomed. That's just a possibility. As you can tell, today I'm very conflicted on a lot of parts of the market, and I think like both Bitcoin and the stock market are just simply consolidating and chopping around. It is summertime, so that doesn't surprise me. Here's Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin, the uptrend did break down. Let me see something here. Nope, still intact. Look at that, still intact. Okay. And you can see the altcoins are all over the place. Like, I'm going to talk about Rune later. It's all over the place. Like, running liquidation spikes. Look at that 4-hour liquidation spike. Liquidation spikes to the downside, the upside, just back and forth. Taking out huge swaths of capital just to liquidate shorts and longs on both sides. There's a bunch of names like that. I mean, you can see BCH kind of did something similar, not to the extreme that Rune did it, but all the coins are trying to take as much capital from people as possible, and by capital I mean from like leverage traders, with these fast and furious moves. And until they've done that enough, taken enough liquidity, I don't see us moving. I think it's the market makers or whoever's behind the market makes more money staying in this situation than making big moves. That's just my opinion. Okay. I want to go into Bitcoin more in the Afterparty. But for now, the main scenario is we're chopping, and we're gonna either take out some lows, spike lower, or we're gonna chop a bit more, and then we're gonna move higher, or we potentially, just keep chopping for a while, which is a very real possible scenario if. How do I say this? If the S&P rolls over, but Bitcoin's looking bullish, maybe we get stuck in this, where the S&P is pulling Bitcoin down. Imagine Bitcoin being pulled. Normally we talk about alts being pulled down by Bitcoin. Imagine Bitcoin being pulled down by the S&P. That's a very real potential scenario that could happen. So again, something to keep in mind, and why we make sure to look at the S&P, even if we don't own too many stocks, and mostly we're focused on crypto. I think you still have to watch the legacy markets because they are the, I want to say tail that wags the dog, but that would imply that the stock market is small. I would say the rest of the dog is wagging the tail, and crypto is kind of the tail. That's how I would see it. I think that's it for the public show. I have a bunch of stuff I want to talk about privately, regarding a bunch of altcoins, regarding a few stocks particularly, and commodities, particularly gold and silver and the US dollar and what's happening with that. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll take a quick break, and then hopefully you guys can join me in the after party and be a lot more talkative there, and I can answer any questions that you have, and we'll have a lot more time to go into individual names that you're interested in. All right, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you in like 5 minutes in the after party. All right, later.